Hello and welcome to the 360 chat, the first ever chat show for me. So it's going to be very interesting. We've got some guests on here that are going to talk about their profession and have the 360 kind of view of them around their profession. So we have our first guest today, who's Chris. Chris is a comedian. Really excited him to be on the show, and we're going to get to know a little bit about the comedy profession, and also hopefully a bit more about Chris as well. So welcome, Chris.
Hello, Steve. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I think you're good. I know you've come from a long walk with your children.
Yeah, 2 hours. Misjudged 2 hours. We need to when it's sunny. At the moment, we're all getting rickets from being inside.
And also, we don't know where we're going, do we? We get a bit lost now. We forget where we are.
Oh, yeah. We have holidays booked. We don't have holidays anymore. That's the closest I get to the Mediterranean is walking through a bridle path.
Brilliant.
Put a hat on.
It definitely. And also, going out is like still everyone's like avoiding each other, aren't they? And it's almost still.
Oh yeah, we're still social distancing. Good. Keep social distancing. Definitely. We don't want another spike, but it's easier now. It's a Thursday. So I don't know when you're putting it out, but it goes out today, the Thursday.
Wednesday is live.
Wednesday's live. And when it goes on the Thursday, there's no one out. So they're all working. So that's the best time to go out is when people would be at their work. Because even if you're working from home, you try to maintain some semblance of normality.
Yeah.
By like not going for long walks in the middle of the day. But as a comedian, my job would mostly be at night. So this is normality.
Talk about a comedian now. Obviously, we've spoken to your profession. So let's start with your profession as a comedian. How did you get into the job as a comedian?
So I think I didn't know I wanted to be a comedian, but I did love stand-up comedy. I fell in love with stand-up comedy from Robin Williams at the Met live in 1987, which would have made me 5, but I was 9 when I saw it. And he was talking about everything. So at the time he was talking about his drug addiction and his alcohol addiction and making it very funny. And obviously I was very young at the time, but I just found his voices funny. And then I'd rewatch it later in life and I'd be like, wow, this guy's talking about subjects that I didn't think you could try to make funny, and it wasn't socially acceptable to make funny. And it's how I used to deal with traumatic situations, was make jokes about it. And I was watching Robin Williams talking about his alcohol addiction. Like this was in a newer one, but him talking about how he woke up one morning after getting drunk and next to him on the pillow was a child's sock. And he said, there's no way this story ends well. And I was like, that's funny, but it's terrifying, but it's funny. And so, and I watched him and Jasper Carrott and Billy Connolly and Victoria Wood and Eddie Izzard, all very much influenced me as I was a child growing up watching all of this. And I got into drama and stuff, and I directed plays at the Limelight Theatre in Aylesbury when I was 16. And then I fell out of all of that stuff and went and started to train to be a psychologist. And then I just realized, so I was like I wanted to do more stuff, and some traumatic things happened in my life. And it got to the point where I was like, I might as well do something I love and enjoy rather than this stuff I hate. So I was hosting a radio show with a friend of mine, Paul, and another guy asked us, and it was a comedy radio show. And we talked most of it. And then we started to introduce sketches gradually to the point where we were spending, it was a 3-hour show, and we were spending 18 to 19 hours a week, as well as doing our day job, writing the sketches for this show and recording them. And then Ofcom investigated us because it was a Sunday morning and it was very inappropriate. And and then this other radio guy said, hey, have you ever thought about trying stand-up comedy? And I was like, I haven't, but I haven't ever had a go at it. And we tried, and actually that show, so that was going to be our first ever stand-up show. It was our first ever time performing stand-up. No. We'd never been to live comedy in a comedy club before. We didn't know how it worked. All we'd done is seen like Live at the Apollo and all these stand-up specials. So we both wrote 20-minute sets. So our first sets were 20 minutes long. And they were supposed to be us two this host who'd asked us, and then 2 professional comedians, and the 2 professional comedians dropped out. Then the host dropped out. This was 3 days before.
Wow.
There was 100 tickets sold, and it was all raising money for cancer research, I believe. It's been 11 years, cancer research. And we were like, well, we can't just do 2 20-minute sets. So both of us wrote another 20 minutes each in 3 days and memorized it. And then we introduced each other so that we both did 2 20-minute sets each.
Amazing.
So we did. It was not. but it was for charity. We raised a couple of £1,000, and that was the first ever gig I ever did. That was the first ever gig Paul ever did, and we loved it. We kept doing it together as friends. He doesn't do it anymore. He still writes, but he doesn't do stand up. But that was how I got into it. And then I kind of got the bug. I just kept going and just kept going. We organised some more.
Yeah.
They were not great.
Yeah.
And then, but they got better. And I worked with everyone who is now big. We had at these shows, like this tiny little room in the back of this place in Corporate Arms in our first year in Milton Keynes. And it was, we had people like Nick Helm, James Acaster, Lou Sanders, all these like massively famous people, Joel Dommett, Russell Kane, in this tiny room that only had 30 people, about the size of someone's living room. And sometimes, like, Nick Helm performed to 6 people, and Joel Dommett showed up because he was a friend, or he is a friend, but he was a friend at the time, and he obviously wasn't a headliner or anything at the time, but he'd only been going 2 years, and our headliner dropped out. We called him, and he said, I am not ready to go on stage. I've been drinking with my agent all day. and I said, I don't care. We need someone. It's £60. It's £60.
Ooh.
And he came down on the train from London. We'd been drinking, and it was just the best. It was the best.
And there you go. They're not setting up with usually the best ones.
No, but it was so few people, and that was our first year, and I fell in love with it, and I just kept going.
It's interesting because you said, okay, you kind of fell into it by seeing. I mean, the heroes that you're talking about in comedians are same as mine. Same guys. Not many women comedians at that time.
Victoria Wood, though.
Victoria Wood, yeah. Very,
Rivers.
She's very brilliant. Well, I couldn't watch. She was too much for me, but not the right age.
Oh, right, okay. I like Joan Rivers. At her peak, Joan Rivers was exceptional. I mean, I'm not talking about late. She was still scathing, but when she was on top form, she was one of the best.
Absolutely. No, Julia.
Yeah.
So, as a comedian, then, a lot of people kind of look at a comedian and they go, "Oh, wow, that's something I can never do," and it's something that a lot of people would like to do. Yeah. What would you say to them for something like that if they feel they want to do it, but they just don't have that next step or just don't know what to do?
I mean, you could join a course, that I teach them, and you could do one of those, and that's a good way to sort of springboard off because you get a group of people that will support you in doing it. But I'd say the same with anything that's not going to kill you. Do it, because you're only alive once, Steve. You only just get this one chance. And I waited a long time. If you think that this is my 11th year doing comedy, I waited until I was 27, which for a comedian is late to start. And I regret waiting that long to do something I loved. And it was because I put my whole life on hold. Being a stand-up has completely changed how I view life in general. So I would say, if you want to do stand-up comedy, or you think, I don't have it, I can tell you now, it's not magic. People think that stand-up comedians have something amazing, but you can learn to be a stand-up comedian. Right. You just need to get up on stage and have a little bit of confidence in yourself. Or you have to get up on stage and have a little bit of delusion about yourself.
Yes.
and if you don't have it, you pretend until you do have it. Because I didn't have it. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of me back in the day, but I was a very big guy. I was 26 stone, and I would wear like superhero shirts with a big cardigan over the top, and I had my hair over my face, and I was very introverted. I wasn't a very extroverted guy. And my hobby prior to comedy at the time was painting Warhammer miniatures. and
Okay.
playing war games. So it was, and role play. I still love doing Dungeons and Dragons, but it was very much staying at home and just not going outside, not interacting.
The geek, is that what we call them?
Yeah, the geek. I think the thing is, when I was, that growing up as a geek, that was very much a different subculture. But now it's the norm.
It's trendy.
Loads of famous people play Dungeons and Dragons now, which is great. Finally, it's like finding your old clothes in the cupboard and going, "Oh, finally, these are back in fashion."
Yeah, absolutely.
Wear this shell suit again.
It's interesting.
Sorry, I was just saying, anyone that I think you should always, if it's not going to kill you, be it a bungee jump or a stand-up comedy, you should just give it a go. Go and do a course. Go and find an open mic. Spend a couple of weeks writing some jokes. Go give it a go. See how it feels. If you hate it, you hate it. Don't do it again. If you love it,
try it and do it. And yes, you're right. I mean, the reason I asked that question, as you know, I went on a course with you and my mentor. But it's not about me. But what I did notice, apart from the great feedback and everyone enjoying it, but I noticed a lot of people who had struggles with their mental health. There was a couple of friends, I call them friends, I would call them friends now, who struggled afterwards because the limelight for them was the thing they wanted. And that thing I experienced as well. And I definitely had that bug from once you have an audience that laugh at you, laugh at your jokes, whatever.
They laugh with you. But laughing at you, there's just a different. Clowning is laughing at you. They're not laughing at you.
Well, exactly. I mean, I'm going to play an audio, and I want you, while I play this audio, to remember your first audience of laughter, which got you kind of the bug. This is the kind of thing that I would say got people.
That's good.
That for me is the pinnacle of comedy. What would you say to that?
What the pinnacle? That's what you're looking to achieve. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I think that the whole point of comedy is between the performer, be them a writer or an actor or a stand-up, because you're all kind of comedians. Is between the audience and the performer having a conversation that results in the audience feeling better afterwards. That's the whole point of comedy. So it doesn't matter if it's political. As you know, I'm quite a political comedian, and it doesn't matter if it's political, as long as the audience that want to watch it are enjoying themselves and come out feeling better than when they went in. That's the absolute pinnacle of comedy. Sure. If a comedy makes you feel worse afterwards, then it's a drama. There's something else there. And that's, you want that. Sometimes you go and you watch a horror movie to be scared. But the pinnacle of comedy is to make the audience feel better. That's and it's a very open conversation between the comic and the audience. Or it doesn't even have to be a big audience. I've performed to 2 or 3 people just because it's something. I'll tell you what actually happened. The reason that happened recently was because they moved the date without telling anyone. We showed up and there was 3 people there, 4 people there. But and then they were like, "All right, we've got it as tomorrow." We were like, "Well, we're in Oxford tomorrow, so we're not going to be here."
First comedy.
But it doesn't matter who they are. You put on the best show, and we did, and it was a great. Even though there was only 4 people, it was great. But that is, you're right. That I think that it doesn't matter if it's that kind of laughter, or if they're just smiling, because it's a very cultural thing, right. Or nodding. I've performed all over the world, and you will never get that reaction in the Nordic countries. So in Finland, they'll look at you and they'll smile and they'll nod. And then they'll come up to you afterwards and they'll say, "That was a great show. I really enjoyed it." And you'll be like, "Could you tell your face?" Because I did not have fun. But it's just their culture. It's just a different culture. Whereas in America, you go on stage and they're like, "Wah! Blah, blah, blah." You haven't even told a joke. You're like, "Hi, I'm Chris. I'm from England." They're like, "Yeah, I love England." Whereas in
their own performance themselves, they're just
there to really rip it. Whereas like in I was going to say the Dutch are great, but you go to like Germany and they're like, cool. I am enjoying this show.
Let's not go on Germany. Let's not talk about humour because
no, it doesn't. No, it's not. It's just different cultures. The French are very reserved, and when you win them over, they're great. And I know that that's generalising. Obviously there's different, but it is. The audiences are different in different places. I much prefer performing in Nordic audiences in places like Sweden and Denmark, because they're watching you, and when they take in the joke. In England now, there's this thing to take the joke at face value immediately, where they won't hear the end. They'll decide if they like it midway through. And then you're like, you don't watch a movie and go, do you know what, I'm going to hate the end of this movie. You're like, there's a twist, just wait. I know M. Night Shyamalan has messed this up, but just wait. Whereas in Sweden and Denmark, because they're translating a lot of the time from English into their first language, to get the gist of it in their head, they're thinking it over. So then by the end of it, they really get the joke and they're really like on board with it. And I love that. They're just so into it. Whereas in America, they're just like, I'm already enjoying it from the beginning without ever. So it's two different extremes between England and America.
Is that because when you said in the early days that you did psychology, or is that something you're interested in, and like you like to actually get more into their head rather than just that cheap laughter? Is that something?
Yeah, I'll take both, Steve. I'll be honest. I'm not. I'm not. Beggars can't be choosers.
I was trying to be simple. They're trying to be really up here there.
I do. I tend to. So I tend to try to write stuff that's highbrow, and then realize that it's a bit heavy, and bring it back down to be just so people can get it. Because it's not you're in a club. You don't want to be. I used to write stuff about the state of Chinese birth rates, and people would be like, oh, "This is probably a good joke, but whoa, it's Friday night, man. I've just been at work all week. Chill out." And so, yeah, you have to balance it. And I think that a good comic will have a mixture of stuff that. Like my favorite joke. I'll tell you what. I won't tell it now. I'll send it to you, and you can do whatever you want to do with it. But my favorite joke is one that's 2 lines, and it is both stupid and highbrow simultaneously. And it's the only one I've ever written. I'm not gonna like big myself up. It's just this one joke. It's my favorite one. I've had it for about 4 years.
Oh, well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We'll add that to the end of this video. But we could look at we're going to look at this clip now of you in performing and get a bit of a taste of what you like.
Hopefully.
And yesterday, and we have it's fucked. Like the only way we're going to know what a dolphin looks like in 30 years is from the tattoos on grandmother's breasts. They're going to be like, kids are going to be like, "Grandmother, tell me the story of the zoos." She's going to be like, "This is a dolphin, this is an otter. And if you want to see an orangutan, I'm going to have to wake up your grandfather." And it's fun.
Okay, excellent. So I've seen that quite a few times. The tattoos. But, when you get someone that is a joke and they don't get it, do you find that, especially in an audience and they don't get it, do you kind of like point it out or do you ignore it? What do you? At the start of my career, I point it out. But I realized it's not fair. So like I used to take it as I used to be like, "Oh, why are you so stupid?" And then I realized that was such an arrogant attitude to have, because it might be that they don't like. That's basically what I'm saying at that point by getting angry about it, or even picking it out, is I'm better than you. And I'm not. In no respect am I going to be better than that person. Right. I don't know who that person is. I don't know what they've gone through. I don't know what their sympathies are, or even their education. So it is completely wrong of me to pick it out. And I did used to, "Oh, you didn't get, I can tell you didn't get that joke." It's so condescending. And there's no need. Everyone is there to have a good time. That's why they're in no one goes to a comedy club with, "Oh, I'm going to have a fucking awful." No, right. So I've said that, but there are people that do that. I have been at a comedy club and doing a gig, and someone's in the front row looking really dour. And I've said, what's wrong with you, mate? Not as part of it, just
been like, mate, you just don't seem to. They'd be like, I buried my brother today. And you're like, why the hell have you come to a bloody comedy show and sat in the front row?
Yeah, I mean,
Why have you done that?
the audience is important for you, isn't it? Because you're feeding off the audience. If they're doing that.
Absolutely.
Now, with that in mind, you're doing online now. Obviously, we're in this lockdown situation. I won't put what are the terms that people like to use and people get peed off with now, kind of like in these strange times. I said it.
They're not like that. I think
people are fed up with
tough times.
Tough times.
Well, yeah, but it's tough times, strange times. It is. If this isn't strange, who the hell are you?
I know. I like to use the word interesting times.
Interesting. What was your upbringing? If this isn't weird,
don't ask me.
Kept in a basement.
I think people just get fed up with it. It's like Zoom. It was everybody's on Zoom, and now suddenly it's getting quieter. I feel, but
we're all sick of. We're sick of starting conversations with "You're on mute, mate."
Yeah,
we're all sick of that.
Press the button.
Press the video. Can you hear me? That's the start. That's how I'm going to start. That's how I'm going to start shows when we go back to live.
Brilliant.
Well, can everyone hear me? Right? I'm not on mute.
Definitely, you've got to do that. But online, if you're doing it online at the moment, and it seems successful. I watched your live show. Well, I watched a recording of your live show, but it was great. But obviously, what was missing was the audience.
Oh yeah, it's quite tough.
And because that feedback for you was missing, so that's obviously from your side, your experience, and you know where you would get those laughters, and I know a little bit of typing in, maybe coming and go, ha ha ha, I found that funny, blah blah blah. It's not the same, but at the same time, for the audience to watch, they rely, as you just mentioned, on the other audience to laugh as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's quite. So you're doing.
I do find a lot of the time. So when you have viewer figures, you kind of have to double them. That was my cat knocking that over. That was.
We're live. I ain't cutting that out.
No, you shouldn't. It did it on purpose.
Welcome to the 360 Chat Show.
He bit me. He just knocked it over. What a bastard. But you have to think a lot of the time. So I always, in my head, I was like, I'll have three. I stream across 3 platforms: Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. And it's one stream that I put to a thing called Caster online, which then splits it up.
Okay.
And I assumed the viewer figures I got, which is roughly about 100 on the night, between 60 and 100, were what it was. That's 100. But then through the week you'll get more, and by the end of the week it's usually around the 1,000 mark that people have like yourself, you watch out.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's the viewer. But actually, I started to get photographs from people of them at home. Because and it's often 2 or 3 people in a room. So you have to just double those figures, and that's what they're feeding off. They're looking at their partner and they're watching this at home with their family, hopefully not with their kids, because I'm not a kid-friendly guy. But I'm a kid-friendly guy, but I'm not a kid-friendly comic.
Yeah.
And I thought, maybe I have to reassess this. And I was looking through afterwards. All of the pictures I get sent, I think it's about 10% of them are just people on their own. The rest are people with their couples. So I say that whatever your comic audience is, they're feeding off each other.
Yeah.
House. And they do feed off those comment sections. So people will like thumbs up or like or heart or whatever, and they do write very funny, like that, my favorite bit. And people feed off of it. And maybe they're not reacting the same way at home, like, amazing, you should do more comedy. But a lot of the time they are reacting in a more direct way. So they'll type a comment, or they buy coffee. That's how we earn money now, is they buy coffees for us on our stream. So there's a donation button. Yeah. Well, and I don't like the term donation, because I'm working, they're paying me to work. I'm doing a job, they're paying to watch.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same as always. So I don't like donations. So buy me a coffee. I like it as a tip. Gonna do a good job, you give me a tip. That's what I like. So they tip me, and we live enough that. So that feedback is enough for me. And actually, I've started to prefer it. I don't have to travel anywhere. There's no 2 a.m. rethinking the set in a Gloucester services while eating a snap pasty. There's none of that. There's just, I come in, I'm in the same room that I perform in now. I'm in the dining room. Come in here, set up the stuff, do it, finish. My bedroom is 10 feet away. I'm done by 10:30 and I'm home already.
The positive side of it.
The positive side of it. My wife had made a pizza for me the other night. So I finished. I hadn't eaten all day because I'd been getting ready for the show. And she's like, I've made you a pizza. And it was in the other room, like through that door. It's like, yes, how positive. There's no negative because I'm not getting heckled. There's no one like, oh, that's rubbish. I'm here as a stag do. Mention the fact that Dave's birthday was last week. There's none of that. There's none of that. It's all just people telling you how great and how much they've had a good time. Because if they didn't, they log off and they fuck.
And the thing is, I know what you're talking about because you must have been hungry that day because you really appreciated that because you wrote about your wife at that time she bought, this is my love of my life. It's like food.
Oh yeah,
they come in there. But I know you're not. Well, it's not just about food, but that was just funny for me. It just
you've got to appreciate when someone makes an effort for you. You've got to appreciate that the greatest thing a person can give you is not financial or anything. The biggest thing and the greatest thing a person can give you is time. If someone has given you any amount of time, it shows that they respect you in a way that's way above everyone else. So the fact that my wife made a pizza for me means that she took time out. Her name's Lucy. The fact that Lucy made a pizza for me, she took time. She thought about me. She took time out of her evening of relaxing, because that's what she would have been doing. Relaxing or doing something for herself to make something like because I love pizza. Make something for me and then give it to me. And all of that must have taken an hour total, from start to finish. And that hour she gave of her time. That's an hour of her life that she thought I would appreciate. And that's why I appreciate it so much. It's because she doesn't need to do that. I still love her. I wasn't going to love her any less if she hadn't made that pizza. But the idea that she sliced out a piece of her time and gave it to me in the form of a pizza is a greater show of love than any present a person could do.
That's beautiful. That's nice. It's lovely. And I mean, some of us take it for granted. Not anyone's name, but you showed you didn't. By even posting on there, you've got a performance coming up soon. When is it, and where is it they can find you?
Oh, where is it? Where they can find me? They can find me every Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. in my dining room. But online.
Don't go to your dining room there.
Don't go to my dining room. You can find me if you go on YouTube. Just look for Chris Purchase on YouTube. Find my channel, or Twitch. It's the Chris Purchase, and Facebook. It's the Chris Purchase. Just go and find me on any of those things. I think the best place you can find me is thechrispurchase.com, because that has everything. You can just click through and find it.
Okay, we might be a bit posh on this show, and we'll put some credits at the end.
No.
I know.
Not digital technology.
Digital technology. So I might even put it in the Star Wars theme. Keeping my background going. At the moment, just staying with some friends. Yeah, this is my friends.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like the fact that we've got into the political correctness and stuff discussion when you're using The Simpsons, who are notoriously have predicted a lot of the political correctness scandals of the recent century, recent decade. And Family Guy as well, who's same writers. And
yeah, definitely.
Fantastic.
Lovely family though. They've given me the time. They've gone out. Someone said they've got an eye test. Gone to a castle somewhere to have their eye test.
Yeah, they've got an eye test, so they've gone for a drive.
And I know you've got a lot of jokes on those ones.
Fast as you can with the people you love. That's the thing you should do. Well, eyes don't work. What do you think I should do? Should I go to an optician? No, I think we should get everyone we love, travel as fast as we can in a ton of metal at a national heritage site. Oh, you're right. That is a good idea.
Brilliant idea. It's a brilliant idea. Listen, Chris, this has been amazing. Thank you for coming on the show. I'll put the credit on. And thank you.
Thank you for having me. See you later.
And thank you for everyone watching the show.
Thank you for everyone watching the show.
A great day. Turn that off. Your copyrights, can't have any copyrights. There's your credit score, and you just read that. If it's too fast for you, go and get your eyes tested. Go to a castle, go and drive there, whatever you do. But don't be putting this on. I ain't getting sued. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.